All right, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're exploring a profoundly emotional historical event. And look, according to our source material, this is so much more than just a list of dates and locations. It actually serves as this incredible, timeless lesson in truth, sacrifice, and really, the ultimate test of human character. So, what happens when faith meets fear? I really want you to keep this question right in the back of your mind because it completely frames the entire historical narrative we're looking at today. It's literally the ultimate human dilemma, right? Choosing between your own personal comfort and your conscience. Think about this for a second. It has been well over 1,300 years since this event actually took place. And yet, the source notes that it still moves millions of people around the world to tears today. That kind of unbelievable longevity, it proves we're looking at something way more significant than just some dry history lesson. Part 1. A defining moral moment. This is where a very small group made the ultimate choice of justice over safety. Okay, let's lay down the historical foundation for our explainer today. The event occurred on the 10th of Muharram in the year 61 AH, which lines up with October 10th, 680 CE, in Karbala, Iraq. On one side of the conflict, you have the main figure, Imam Hussein ibn Ali, who is the grandson of Prophet Muhammad. And then on the opposing side, you have this massive military force loyal to the ruler of the time, Yazid ibn Muawiyah. The text explains that there was just this intense mounting pressure on Imam Hussein to pledge allegiance to a ruler that he viewed as fundamentally unjust. Moving right into part 2. What exactly happened in Karbala? Let's walk through the step-by-step sequence of events that led up to the tragic battle. Looking at the sequence of events, it's so clear exactly how the pressure escalated. It all started with a principled refusal of allegiance. Imam Hussein wasn't sitting there calculating political odds. His conscience simply wouldn't allow it. So he traveled, but not with a massive military force. He traveled with his family and close companions. They were intercepted and eventually stopped at Karbala, completely surrounded by the opposing army. Then, as a brutal siege tactic to basically force their submission, their access to water was completely cut off. Finally, on the 10th of Muharram, knowing full well what the outcome would be, they faced battle and ultimate sacrifice. It's just a stark, incredible contrast. A small family taking a stand against a massive, heavily armed force. And, this brilliantly illustrates the sheer spiritual gravity of the event. The source points directly to specific Quranic verses, noting that believers will be tested with fear, hunger, and the loss of lives. During the severe thirst of that siege and the ensuing battle, Imam Hussein and his companions literally lived out those exact verses under the most extreme conditions imaginable. Part 3. Standing against injustice. Now that we understand the physical reality, let's unpack the ideological why behind this incredible stand. Imam Hussein famously stated, "I did not rise to cause corruption. I rose to seek reform." This absolutely was not some grab for political power or territory. The text really emphasizes that his stand was a deeply spiritual refusal to normalize wrong. He firmly believed that staying silent in the face of evil is, well, it's a form of evil in itself. This actually ties directly into a core prophetic instruction outlined in our source. The idea is, when faced with evil, you first try to change it with your hand. If you can't do that, you use your tongue to speak out. And if you can't even do that, you reject it in your heart. The author points out something really powerful here. Imam Hussein didn't stop at the heart. He used his tongue to speak out, his hand to stand firm, and ultimately he gave his life to fulfill this exact instruction. Part 4. 7 Timeless Moral Lessons. So how does an event from 680 CE actually apply to our modern daily lives? I really love this comparison because it kind of forces us to look in the mirror. On one side, you've got silence and convenience. On the other, courage and conscience. Our source material challenges us to ask ourselves a pretty tough question. Which side do you naturally lean toward when you're put under pressure at work, or at school, or in your community? To make this a bit more concrete, the author shares this fantastic anecdote about a reader named Yusuf. He's a software engineer. Yusuf had been staying quietly complicit about some unethical behavior at his company because, let's be real, like a lot of us, he needed his salary. But after reflecting on the story of Karbala, he realized Imam Hussein had so much more to lose and still spoke up. That powerful reflection pushed Yusuf to choose his conscience over his comfort, and he actually went ahead and reported the ethical issue to management. The source distills the whole event down into 7 powerful takeaways. First, truth matters, even when it costs you dearly. Second, Justice isn't just a feeling, it requires physical action. Third, sabr, or patience, is about staying steady during hardship. It is absolutely not a weakness. Fourth, your faith has to shape your public choices, not just your private worship. Fifth, a family standing together in sacrifice has profound meaning. Sixth, you've got to remember the divine during your trials, not just when life is a breeze. And finally, just look at how 72 companions stood against thousands. It brilliantly illustrates that truth is never measured by crowd size. Sometimes a very small group is literally all it takes to carry the truth forward. And finally, part 5, applying Karbala today. Let's look at modern habits and self-accountability. Here's another highly practical anecdote from the text. Aisha, who's a teacher from Manchester, shares this story with her children every single year. But she doesn't just do it to give them a history lesson. She asks them one simple yet incredibly powerful question. What would you have done? She notes that this one question sparks the most honest family conversations about courage and actually doing the right thing. Now, if you want to put this into practice right now, here is a direct reflection checklist from our source, and it's incredibly actionable. Write down just one lesson that really touched you. Pray for courage. Identify an area in your own life where you desperately need more patience. Give a little charity. Educate yourself from reliable historical sources. And my absolute favorite one, go out today and do one quiet, totally uncelebrated act of justice. We're going to end this explainer with a real mic drop question drawn directly from the text. Will you choose truth when truth costs you something? The historical figures in Karbala answered that question with their lives. So, how will you answer it in your everyday choices? Think about it. Keep learning, keep questioning, and I'll see you in the next explainer.